art, it could be in the form of a picture or a dance, but it is art nonetheless. And today with us we have two experts, two people who have dedicated their life to raise awareness, promote, show people what exactly is our heritage. We have with us PrithaSardessai, who is a member of the Goa Heritage Action Committee, and she takes special interest in folk dances to really bring out and showcase what exactly it is that our tradition, our culture really came up with. And we also have with us Mr. Cezar Pinto. He is also a member of the Goa Heritage Action Committee, and he will be taking care of the art, the paintings, and they will be having a special competition too, along with exhibition of artwork. So I welcome you all both to the show. Thank you very much for joining us here. So ma'am, can you tell us a little about how is it that folk dances and this kind of aspect is really being part of the Heritage Festival this year?
So as you would be aware that heritage can be broadly classified into tangible heritage and intangible heritage. So tangible is what you can see, you can touch, as in architecture or crafts which you can actually see and feel, while the intangible heritage is what we have developed over centuries, over millennium, which is forms of art in terms of music, dance, food, all these aspects which you can't really physically touch, but is very, very important to our identity. So in this festival of the Goa Heritage Festival, we have given a prominent slot to the cultural performances from across the state of Goa. Our tribal performances which are going to be staged by the people of the community.
So the people themselves from the community will travel here to perform.
Yes, that is the most important thing. So we are having a slot of about an hour each day on the main stage, around 6:30 in the evening to about 7:30, and we have a very, very interesting lineup of what we are going to be showing them. Yeah.
And so artwork, Goa is pretty famous, like you go around in Fontanas, you have the Mario Miranda paintings, and these kind of artwork is seen almost at every lane, every small by lane that you walk by, you see artwork. So how exactly is it that art is part of this heritage festival? And also I've been given to understand that this was the motivating factor behind the whole event, right? Yeah. So can you really shed some light on as to how and what is going to be this?
See, we had the Fontainage Festival some years ago, and it became very popular, and that's the time the artists could really showcase what they were doing, and a lot of artists gained a lot of importance those days. So, and they were all looking forward to have another festival, but this time it is the Goa Heritage Festival. So art is only a component of the Goa Heritage Festival. And as we have had a lot of artists, like the famous artists like Guy Tonde, Fonseca, Francis Newton Souza, who were from Goa but who made it big internationally. And Goa was like a hub, and is still a hub of art.
So will this be just a display of artwork, or will it also be like people can see the artwork and also purchase the item?
Yes, it's an art exhibition, and we are hosting it in 4 different venues here. Okay. So, and all the heritage houses, which is nice, so you can experience art in this heritage homes, which is different compared to a gallery space. The whole idea is to experience art in the heritage precinct.
But is there something specific that when you say Goan art, is there something specific or something that like you could tell us about, like that has been like in Goan our Goan history or culture that has been like carried forward, a type of artwork that is done?
No, there's nothing as such as it's Goan art. Art is like an international phenomenon, and one can relate to art, Goan art or any other art. So it's nothing specific to Goan art. But we do have a certain kind of, because of the serenity in Goa, it comes out in the form of art.
Okay, so basically the culture kind of influences the artist.
It does.
Okay. So ma'am, coming back to you, do you feel like, the art form, the folk dances of our villages, the remote places are being lost to modernization, like, especially the youngsters moving out in search of education and jobs. So do you feel that somewhere down the lane that maybe we are losing this kind of art forms?
So yeah, I think we are all on that threshold where modernization and education and search for jobs is threatening the cultural identity, not just here but across the globe. But but it still means it's really important to the community, and they within themselves are trying their best to hold it together, and I think these festivals like what we're having now is encouraging them to get back together and show their work. So for this festival especially, we've been very fortunate to have we're being guided by one of the most prominent and eminent personalities in this field in Goa, Dr. PrithaSardessai, a cultural historian. So somebody who's been so passionate about the heritage of Goa, cultural heritage, the people of Goa, the language. So he himself, through his formal study of sociology and then cultural history, has been able to, and immense field work, which he has documented through, research papers and about 4 or 5 titles covering this topic. So he has been able to connect with these people, like into the, like going deep into our villages and connecting with all these various communities and encouraging them to hold together their identity and their cultural repertoire. So he has helped us curate this. So all the 5 days are something which have been, so we are going to give snippets of so many various performances across Goa through these 5 days. And what actually I would like to share is that he was for a period of time the member secretary of Kala Academy. At that time, connecting with these people and bringing them onto the stage through the platform of Kala Academy is what has helped them come out. And I feel these are the initiatives which will keep this whole process alive, and that is why I feel these festivals are really important.
So like now you must be knowing a lot, like since you are taking, like helping out with curating this the folk dances, there must be some dance or some art form that you have seen or read about or heard of that has really piqued your interest as to like what it represents and how it is performed and who performs it. Is there something that you could share with us?
Yeah, I'll tell you a few. So the thing is that we when we say about Goan cultural, so we know about the Dekhni, we know about the Mando, which are the more heard performances, and that is how, because we've seen them more in the touristy setup, on cruises, on hotel performances. But here, as I said, it's the people who will be performing. Okay, so that's the special thing. But I'll talk about a few things which maybe even our audience now are not aware of. You might have heard of the women singing around the grinding stone. So women singing around the grinding stone is a cultural aspect of not just the Goan community, but so many communities, because that's where the women got together. Grinding grain. So today you're grinding it in my house, tomorrow we are helping you grind it in your house, and then the third day we are grinding it in another neighbor's house. So this was a social platform for women, and as they were grinding the stone, just to maintain that rhythm and the energy to do it, they would come about with songs. The songs would cover their own personal stories, their own personal challenges, their own personal celebrations, their own personal tragedies. Everything came about in those songs. And that is such a beautiful document of what social life was, in the villages, from the mouth of the woman. And that's when not just verse, but rhyme, like a tune to it, absolutely natural. Nobody really taught it to them, but it just came from within. It came, So this is one of the things we're going to have. They are called Ovio. And we are going to have the women of Sattari actually sing this around the grinding stone. Okay, so one of the things. Maybe I'll talk about a couple of others. There's something called Ranmane. Ranmane is again a performance I don't think any of us have really heard, but there in the depths of the Taluka of Sattari, you have the Ranmane being performed. Again, stories, cultural stories which come about through a group performance. Then you have the Zagor. Then you have the Kher Theatre. Kher was where everybody came back, a form of theatre. And they all performed on that one particular night where, everybody got into their element to say stories of maybe everything from mythology to religion to history, everything came out there. But now it comes in the form of what is called Khel Theatre. And we have one of the most, seen and appreciated performer called Meninda Bandar from South Goa, who is going to be doing Khel Theatre for us on one of the days. So there's lots to look forward to. So, as I said, a very, very exciting.
Just like from what I've understood is really normally when we see any dance performances, we don't really associate it with anything more deeper. But when he explained it to me now, is it true that, a dance form really emanates from the culture, that, the way they have come up, the performances or, dances are kind of, a culmination of what exactly the whole community goes through?
It is, for sure it is. These are true real life experiences which come out in every form. Whether it's dance, whether it's song, whether it's just music, it's, right from personal experiences to faith. Faith is one of the most important thing, whether it's faith towards, a village deity or a village, a location in the village, but it's faith there. And the concept of faith is how are you going to actually celebrate that faith, so you have things like one of our performances here again is all women's bhajan, and these women are so good at what they're doing. It's obviously a bhajan is more religious in its identity, but the faith of all women coming together, what they put together is just not the faith, but it's the empowerment, that their musicians are women, their singers are women, so, and they are a strong group who are actually traveling from location to location within Goa and outside Goa, because we share a cultural history with Maharashtra, Karnataka, and these women get invited to celebrations across these states. So again, we are showing you we are showcasing not just performance in just its sense, but you are seeing a social phenomenon that's of women empowerment. So
I'm sorry, we are going to have to cut to a small break, and we will come back in a few moments. So keep watching. Welcome back. You're joining us back here with PrithaSardessai and Cezar Pinto, who are helping curate and showcase different aspects of heritage at the Heritage Festival. So like we spoke earlier about folk dances and how it really brings to light the past and the culture of a community. We also are going to talk now about art, about how it is influenced by our culture. So can you tell us, how exactly art form in the paintings are really influenced by, Goan culture that we see here in Goa?
See, a lot of artists are also influenced by the great masters. As Goa had produced very big names who did extremely well internationally, like Francis Newton Souza, Guy Tunney, Fonseca, and recently we had Vamona Navelkar and Lakshman Pai. And some of our artists are influenced by them, because they hold them in great respect. And we also had Mario Miranda, the famous cartoonist, and Mario's works are all over. You'll see his sketches all over the landscape of Panjim or some of the cities. And artists have been influenced by them. and by the nature actually. The colors are very toned down, muted, so they are influenced by Goa.
So I also have given to understand that there will be a competition
Yes.
for students. So what exactly is the motivation behind this?
We want the students, the Goa College of Art, to be part of this festival, and the only way we could get them on board is to have a competition for them. So the competition is open to all the students of the college, and the 5 best works will be selected and displayed here with the other cine artists, which is a good deal for them.
So but what is the motivation to really target youngsters in a form of art form? Like generally now it's a very toned down sort of thing. Like we have paintings, we have many buildings, and the Fontainas area also that has been lot of painting and artwork along the streets. But is it really being promoted, or is it the art form or the artwork really kept alive as it was once?
See, the Goa Heritage Festival will be open to everybody. It's in a precinct which is accessible. It's not like an art gallery where the public can't. Very often, people get a bit scared to enter an art space like a gallery space.
That's
Whereas
right.
here it's open, and you can have
That's, I
access
think,
to
that would
the
be-
art. So everybody can see it, and that's what we want. We want art to be accessed by everybody.
by the general public, not
Can you tell us something about maybe your favorite artist, or someone that inspires you, and or maybe something that inspires you that you could share with us?
Well, one of my favorite artists who's no more is Vamana Navalkar. His simplicity, he was very sensitive to his tones, and I was really carried away by him. In fact, I used to run an art space in Kalangut, and I had 2 of his solo shows. So I had a very personal connection with him. And he also was a part of our Fontainish festival when we had it some years ago.
So coming back to you, ma'am, now they're going to have these performances, and how exactly do you all reach out to these communities to convince them to come out here and showcase their culture, their dance form?
So it's not really difficult to convince. You don't really need to convince, because by now they are used to the stage, like used to being out in the public, which is a nice thing. Like over the last 20-25 years they've been performing not just in Goa but in the rest of the country, and some even internationally. So it's just that they're happy to come. So it's for us to hold these shows and these kind of festivals that will bring them into the public eye, into the urban space basically. Because what they do is they perform this in its original space. It could be the Mand, or it could be a temple precinct, or it could be at a wedding within the community. But it's for us, through various committees and through various organizations, to hold these festivals so that they come out and they're accessible to a much larger audience. Not just Goans, but we'll have a lot of other people coming and walking into our festival.
Okay, since you all are members of the Goa Heritage Action Committee, what really motivated you all to get all these kind of, normally when you have a festival, it's either music festival or it's a dance festival, but to really bring together so many aspects and really bring out the heritage, heritage as a whole, not just one aspect of it at a time, but really let people come and experience what exactly Goan culture is.
See, the whole idea of the Goa Heritage Action Group is this, to bring out the heritage of the space. And for many years, heritage was neglected. People didn't know what heritage was. We created a lot of awareness among the people. Take a place for Fontaine. Fontaine was there. No, everybody took it for granted. It's there. Nobody bothered about Fontaine. It's only when we had the festival, it took so much of prominence, and the whole country knows about Fontaine.
Yeah, a lot of people come down just to see the place. Yeah. But how does economically heritage promote, how can you promote heritage economically and sustainably in such a way, Fontainas now, a lot of people come there, and many cafes and locally owned businesses are blooming there, because a lot of tourism and many culturists who like to see such stuff come there. So how can through this program really promote our heritage in economical and sustainable sense?
Pritha, you should take this.
So it is important to promote heritage in a sustainable way. because either you have heritage which is just neglected and therefore cannot hold itself together. It's say the example of an old structure, an old house. To look after it involves a lot of money, energy, and the right kind of resources. But for somebody to do it privately, it's a huge burden. Somebody who's in a way blessed to inherit it. So unless you make it economically sustainable, like maybe partly run it as a commercial venture and partly use it for the family, or entirely use it as a commercial venture, it helps in maintaining that. Similarly, intangible, when you bring it out into the public space, is when you can actually promote this by honoring them with a certain honorarium, what we call our performers. And when they get it, they are more, it's incentivized, right? So they are definitely more keen to come and perform. So, and how are you able to remunerate them, is by holding this through the right channel of sponsorships and people who are willing to support such festivals. So it is very important, sustainable, but if it becomes unsustainable, like very many parts of the world today are finding that heritage also becomes a burden in terms of the neighborhood getting disturbed due to too much of activity, and those things have to be more controlled. How many people can you allow at some time? What are the timings that you can allow people inside a precinct, or for that matter, what are they allowed to do in that precinct? Should be controlled and should be moderated, and I think we need government support for that. Yes, definitely.
Sadly, we are running out of time, but again, I thank both of you all for coming out here and sharing your story and what this Heritage Festival is, and especially coming together to get out a special event that really showcases what Goa is and what Goans are. So again, I thank you so much for coming out and taking the time to talk.
And we want everybody to come and visit
all
the
of you.
festival.
Yes, even do come out, see what our Goan heritage is, witness the different art forms, the art, the culture that these people are really coming together to showcase and really raise awareness that Goa is not just limited to its tourism and beaches and the fun parts, but also this heritage that is so important to who we are. So do come out and visit the Heritage Festival and keep watching Goa 365.